Contractor versus independent contractor. If you're a contractor working as an employee for another company, you may be paid your benefits, your retirement, and receive other things like unemployment if you're laid off. As an independent contractor, you're foregoing all of those in order to have a direct relationship with the company that you're working with and to keep more of the money in your pocket. This can be a challenge if you're working with large organizations. Working with Microsoft, Google, Amazon, or most Fortune 500 companies, you're going to have to get yourself on the approved vendors list in order to deal directly with them. This means having a good credit history not only for you as an individual, but you as a business. It means having a track record of having worked with other companies in this type of role so that you have good references. It also means a payment schedule that is not as friendly as working for a company. When you work for a company like Volt or Mindstorm or Excel, you get paid every 2 weeks like clockwork from the first day you start. So you don't have long gaps without pay. As an independent contractor, you're more likely to be subject to net 30 with a 30-day billing cycle, meaning you're going to be paid once a month and you're going to get paid typically about 60 days after you start working. For example, if you started working on the first of the month, you would work until the last day of the month, submit an invoice, and then get paid 30 days after that invoice was submitted. Assuming that there's some weekends and some time for processing, this may mean that from the first day that you start to when you get your first payout could be 75 days. This is tough if you're an individual who hasn't been working or hasn't budgeted so that they have 2.5, 3 months worth of pay saved up so that they can make it through one of these long time periods without money. As an independent contractor, however, you typically do command better pay because no one's paying for all of these benefits, and you can choose which benefits to give yourself. As a single male, I don't have a family. I could opt to go with a very small health insurance plan or health savings account and save quite a bit of money over what the employee benefits would be working for a company like Volt or Excel. I can also decide how I'm going to budget some of my resources in terms of what do I need for the laptop that would normally be provided by my company. If I can live with a slightly slower laptop, I may be able to milk that for a little bit more money over time. I can also expense more things as an independent contractor, but I'm going to lose some of that time to administration. While I can bill for the time I'm working, I can't bill for the time that I'm fighting through the billing and getting paid portions of the paperwork. That's administrative overhead that is normally covered by the company that you're working for. The real advantage of being an independent contractor often comes when you switch to a consulting role. A consultant typically doesn't work 40 hours a week. They work something like 8 to 10 hours a week, or may work 40 hours a week but only for short durations like 2 to 3 months, and sometimes only weeks. As a consultant, you're bringing very high value information that the expectation is that you had to build up before you got there, and that you're really billing for all of that backlog of information that you've accrued. For example, I often work with companies that are doing 3D movie shoots, and they don't need a whole lot of consulting. They need a couple of bits of information about how video will look if it is presented on a big screen, a medium screen, and a home theater environment. Because of this, I bill those types of clients $800 or $900 an hour but they're typically only buying about 4 hours of my time, and then they're done. And they've really sucked a lot of information and knowledge out of me in those 4 hours. I also do consulting for SEOs, where people who are search engine optimization consultants themselves will call me to say, hey, I'm going to do this thing and I've never done it before. What do I need to be aware of? And in as little as an hour, I will have provided them enough information that they will then be able to offer new services to their clients. As a result, those clients pay me in the neighborhood of $2,000 to $3,000 per hour for their time. But I don't do that very often. It works out that I maybe get 4 or 5 of those consults a year. Because of all of these types of arrangements that can be made in terms of consultant, independent contractor, and contractor, when you're negotiating with a company, you need to be aware of what your role is going to be, what the expectation of the knowledge and equipment you're going to bring to the role is, the duration of the contract, and the number of hours per week you're going to work.